Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Gautam's Cooking Adventures. In this episode, we'll take you through the steps to make Idly Podi or Molaga Podi, or sometimes also known as gunpowder. You'll require the ingredients as shown over here. As always, you will find a copy of the ingredients list in the description below this video. Please like this channel, subscribe to it, and click on the bell icon to be notified all future episodes. Thank you. We will start by taking a large pan and putting it on a stove and heating it to get it ready to start dry frying all of the ingredients. The pan is nice and hot. The stove setting right now is at medium. I'm just going to make it closer to between low and medium. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with till. I've taken 1/4 cup of till seeds, sesame seeds. And all I'm going to do is just do a dry roast. What we want to do is we want to roast this till the till starts to crackle. The till will also change color to a slightly more browner color, and that's what we want. Throughout the cooking process, ensure that you're constantly stirring it. It's important that all of the till cooks evenly. You also don't want it to catch and burn in any form. So you want to keep stirring it often and wait for it to crackle. This process could take you as much as 8 to 10 minutes or more, depending on how much moisture the till has and how hot your pan tends to get, or how much it retains the heat. The till has nicely fried. It has started to crackle. You can see it crackle every now and then. It's difficult. You probably may not be able to see it in the video as well as that it's a quick crackle, but suffice it to say, as soon as you start seeing it starting to crackle and jump, that's when you know it's ready. You can take this off, put it on a nice white plate to cool off, and then we'll start with the next ingredient. Next, I'm going to dry fry about 4 to 5 sprigs of curry leaves. I've already washed these out, and I'm just going to let them dry fry. Again, the setting is the same. The stove is still on the same low to medium flame. The reason we do a low to medium flame is because we don't want it to cook too fast and burn. So you want them to fry evenly. Through this process, what we're trying to do is basically get rid of as much of the water from within each of these ingredients, so that when we grind them, it's a nice dry powder mix. The leaves don't take as much time as the till took. They will lose water much faster, so it's important to keep stirring them from time to time to ensure that they are not burning. It's been cooking for about 5 minutes, or rather frying for about 5 minutes, and as you can see, all the leaves are nice and dry. They're kind of crisp, and this is just perfect. We can now take this off, keep it aside to cool while we add the next ingredient. I'm going to use just a little bit, about half a teaspoon of sesame oil, and I'm going to cook the chillies. Cook the chillies in them till they are nice and crisp. So these are the Kashmiri red chillies and regular chilies. I've got about 6 or 7 of those. Depending on how spicy you want it, you might want to increase the quantity of regular red chilies. The Kashmiri red chili only provides color, the oil helps it to cook faster. But we really don't want too much of oil because we want to make a dry paste. So just enough oil to kind of coat the outside skin of the chili and allow it to cook. The chili will turn color, become a darker, almost a black outside, and it becomes crisp, and that's how you want it to be. The chilies are nice, they're fried to a crisp. They're perfect to be taken off now and kept to cool. Next, I'm going to put in the Channa Dal and go through the same process of dry frying it till it becomes a nice brown. Remember to keep mixing the Channa Dal because it will catch easily. As you can see, it's starting to turn a nice brown, but we're going to want it to brown much more than this before it's ready to be taken down. We really want to lose as much of the water as we can, make it more of a harder grain than it is now. Now there's a reason why we do this on a slow fire, because we're trying to do this, make this a very slow roast. The idea being that we want the heat to penetrate into each and every grain and allow for the moisture to be released from within the grain. Otherwise, if it is heated too fast, just the outside will heat and brown while the inside will still retain water, and we do not want any kind of moisture to remain within the grain. So that's just in case you have a question, why not just put this at a high setting on the stove and then cook it faster. It's been about 14 minutes since we started, and it's you'll notice that every grain has become a nice brown. This is perfect. We don't want it to become over fried. We don't want, when it over fries, it becomes bitter. This is just reached the right level that we want. It's a nice brown all across every grain, and we want to take this off now and set it to cool. Now in the same pan, we still have the pan heated up. We're adding the Urad Dal to it, and we will go through the same process of dry frying it till it turns a nice brown. Remember to constantly keep stirring it so that all the grains can cook evenly. Now the Urad Dal tends to cook or dry faster than the Channa Dal did, and so you need to watch out, because once it starts to brown, it starts to get over brown easily if it's not properly stirred. So it needs to be stirred constantly to ensure that every grain gets to hit the hot surface and brown on its own. Please be careful of that. It's cooked for about between 8 and 10 minutes, and you can see that all the grains have turned a nice brown. It is now ready to be taken off the stove and allowed to cool on another plate. We're now in the final process. We're going to be adding just a little bit of sesame oil, in this case about a teaspoon of sesame oil. Allow that to heat nicely, and once that is nice and hot, at this point in time I've increased the stove to between medium and high heat, and in this I'm going to add about a tablespoon of Jeera and let this cook for just a little bit. And as it starts to release its aroma and the jeera starts to brown a little bit, I'm going to add to this a tablespoon of pepper, black peppercorn, and allow these now to fry. Now optionally at this point of time, you could also use a teaspoon of mustard seeds. It provides a nice flavor to it as well. And I'm going to allow the mustard seeds to also fry till they crackle. You can hear that the mustard seeds are starting to crackle at this point of time. You want all of them nicely crackled so that they don't get too bitter when we add them into the mix. Now, mustard seed is just optional. It's not necessarily required in making the Molaga Podi. It's just that I like to add just a little bit. I'm also looking to have the peppercorn start to crackle a little. I've reduced the flame to a medium flame now as I'm allowing this to cook. The peppercorn is also starting to crackle now. I'm now ready to take this off the stove. Now what I have is a nice large dish in which I've added all the dals and the til seeds and the final tadka that I just added to it. But if you notice that the chili and the curry leaf is not in this mix, because I've taken them out separately and had them cool off on their own as a separate entity. The reason I'm going to do that is because I'm going to grind that separately and then grind this separately, because they both need two different grinding cycles. They grind at a different pace. Give the mixture some time to cool off nicely. You want this not to be hot or warm when you are going to grind it. You want it to be nice and cold, so that when you grind, there is no moisture that's left in it. Transferred the red chilies and the curry leaves into a grinder bowl, and I'm now going to grind this into a nice fine powder. You can see it's been ground into a nice fine powder. So this is just right. I'm going to take this aside and put this on a separate plate, and then I'll wait for the rest of the items to cool, and then I'll grind that. We just finished grinding it. It's just the right kind of consistency that we want. Not too granular, not too much of a powder, and this is just perfect. So I've transferred the powder that we just ground to a large vessel, and what I'm going to do now is add to this the powder that we've ground using the chili and the curry leaf, and we're now going to mix this nicely. To make it ready. Now remember that at this point of time we've not added any salt, and we will add salt to taste as per each of our own requirements. I'm going to start with adding about 2 tablespoons of salt into this mixture and mix it together. I don't want to add too much at one time. I want to make sure the salt is just right. Typically, if you taste this just as is, if it's just right, the salt will be slightly on the higher side. If it's too salty, it might be difficult to eat later. You can always readjust as you want, so my suggestion is take it in small quantities and mix them nicely. So I went ahead and added another tablespoon of salt to get the right level of salt that I wanted. Like I said, it needs to be just a little extra salty because once you add the ghee to it or the oil, the salt content will drop. So you want to reach that level. This is all we need to do now is put it into a container and keep it away. This will last you at least 3 to 6 months if you keep it in a nice sealed container. That's ready. And as a final step in the whole process, I will add to this about 3/4 of a teaspoon of hing powder. Give this a nice mix. So that completes the making of the Molaga Podi. All it needs to be done now is to dish it or store it in a container. I'm just going to put it in a container and then we'll get back to you.
And there you go, you have Molaga Podi or the Idly Podi ready for you. We hope you enjoyed watching this video. Look forward to any suggestions or comments from you, and please do keep supporting us. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, click the like button, and do press the bell icon so that you can be notified of all our future episodes. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.